MLS Is Back tournament. Sounds like a working title. Thanks for downloading and listening to the West Box Score. We look at sports on the west side of the country, inside and outside of the box score. I'm Alex Gonzalez, joined by Donald Paz. How's it going, Donald?
I'm doing good, man. How you been?
I'm doing good. Just trying to beat the heat. Triple digits. It's too hot, man.
Yep. Heat warning till 7 p.m. here in LA.
7 p.m. That is crazy. I'm going to need to get myself a nice tall glass of ice cold water. Get this thing started, you know?
Yeah.
So this is our first venture into doing this whole podcast thing. Donald and I, what a way for us to get started. I mean, the world is in the midst of national protests for police reform with a few days that got out of hand right there with some civil unrest.
Exactly.
All rolled into this global pandemic, the likes we've never seen before. It's hard for us to even think about sports, but all that's going on in the world. But we're trying to give you a bit of a light breather. We got to remember that sports is coming back. The world will get back to some kind of normalcy. Hopefully we could show some love to our fellow man and we'll come out of this whole thing better people from it. So what better way to get us started with the great news that came out today that the MLS is coming back. The MLS is back tournament.
Yes.
Donald, what do you think of that name?
Oh, man. Yeah, I really love that the MLS is coming back. I saw the announcement in the morning. I believe it was like 6 in the morning that they did it, which I thought was really early, but I get that most of this business is done in the East Coast. So even though for us,
about this East Coast bias, we got to flip the script on them and hit up with a bit of a West Coast bias.
Exactly. So yeah, I woke up to that news. It was really great. Heard a lot of rumors about players going and who's gonna go, who's not gonna go. I know a lot of people want to know if a lot of the big names are gonna be there, like Vela and Chicharito, and yeah, I'm just really excited to see soccer back, especially here in the States. I think that I love Bundesliga. Brings me back to when I used to work in the mornings on the weekend, and that's how I got into it. But I kind of feel like with what they're doing, it's definitely setting the template. So I'm really glad that MLS is just taking that step. And I think if they do it the way Bundesliga did it, it should be fine. Like I don't see how it could be a bad thing if everybody just takes the proper precautions. And that way we can go back to seeing soccer again here in America and embrace it.
I mean, they could have come up with such a better name than that. MLS Is Back tournament sounds like a working title. It doesn't sound like the final name for a cup, because and what are they going to win? I understand they're going to win. Like, it matters in the sense where they're going to get a spot in the CONCACAF Champions League. There's prize money involved. But what cup are they going to hold up at the end with confetti flying to nobody in the stadium? There has to be something, though, or some kind of medal. They're going to get something, right? Like some prize other than just, congratulations, you won the final, and here's your paper. Is it going to be a briefcase like WWE's Money in the Bank?
Yeah.
This is your spot in the CONCACAF Champions League. Like I mean, that's the beauty of soccer, right? Like, when you win it all, you get the trophy. There's the presentation, the stage on the field, and you celebrate in front of fans. This is going to be so weird when you do win it, when the Galaxy win it, and they're going to have to celebrate in front of nobody.
That's true. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of that far, because I'm just thinking about like how it's coming back and I'm going to be able to see teams on the field again and playing, and just kind of like the emotions of watching a game, like being happy when they score, being mad when they're not doing their job, and let things happen. But like, yeah, I didn't really think of all that, but yeah, that is true. Like, how do you celebrate on an empty field? And yeah, what, when you were talking about all that stuff about like how, yeah, the name definitely sounds tacky, and it sounds like they don't really care. They just need to bring it back. And it just felt like we really don't. I mean, maybe this because they probably think this is the one-off. We're not going to do this next year. Because I was thinking about the U.S. Open Cup, and how that usually is like that in like that inter-season tournament that happens with the Open Cup. And right. I think all that's gone now. So I guess this is going to replace that, but I'm thinking maybe they came up with that title because they're thinking, it's not going to be something we're going to have next year. But
That's the name.
But I
the
feel
U.S. Reopen Cup.
The Reopen
Cup. Because
they're
reopening up the United States. That's the name. That's it.
Yeah, we could have the president there talking about how it's going to be reopened again and how glorious this reopen is. And,
you're welcome.
But you know what? That'd be a better name, the Reopen Cup.
That's it. The U.S. Reopen Cup, MLS. There you go. You're welcome. Donald came up with it.
Yep.
And you could send royalties to the West Box Score podcast at gmail.com. Please Venmo us as soon as you can. I mean, when you get around to it, obviously.
Yes.
But yeah, it's MLS Is Back tournament, and maybe that's why they didn't attach a cup to it or the cup name, because it's just a tournament, and the winner of the tournament kind of gets nothing. You get a spot. You get a spot, and that's all you get. You get bragging rights to win the first ever MLS in season, out of season,
the
preseason
COVID tournament.
Huh?
Like you get bragging rights to say that you won during COVID-19 pandemic.
Right. I mean, I would have loved if they would have called it the Coronavirus Cup. I mean, that would have been perfect,
Yeah.
But, honestly, I guess it's in poor taste, given that over 2,000 people have died.
No, of course.
Just in
true.
LA County. To over 200. The numbers are ridiculous. I mean, not taking anything away, not making light of it, but it would have sounded it would have been an accurate name in the sense where that's why they're having this cup, because of the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic that's going on. It would have been accurate, not in good taste. So we're just happy the MLS is back. The format's going to be drawn. They're going to still draw out the teams to see where they play in what groups. But if the Galaxy and LAFC are not in the same group, and they put them and they can't put them far apart, because it looks like the groups are going to be West groups, East groups. So they're expecting the Galaxy and LAFC to meet either in the knockout stages, correct? So isn't that what they want to see anyway? What MLS wants to see? Always an LAFC, LA Galaxy knockout match. That's what they want to see. But put them in a group, right? Let's give us that match. We deserve to see El Tráfico at least once, and we're probably not going to see it if they don't meet in this tournament. I mean, they haven't said when the MLS season is going to kick back in after this tournament, but it's looking good, don't you think so? In the sense where the state's opening up a little bit more, the country's opening up a little bit more. I think even in LA County, who's been really strict with what they're reopening, they said sports are allowed to open up this weekend. So it's looking likely like this Dignity Health Sports Park is going to be able to host Galaxy games, obviously probably without fans. And the LAFC Stadium, Bank of California Stadium, as of now, they're looking to change their name. Did you see that news, Donald?
No. From the Bank of California Stadium?
Bank of California Stadium. Or Bank of California is looking to get out of their agreement.
No way. Why?
So they're going to most likely change their name. So I love the LAFC fans rag on LA Galaxy fans. Full disclosure, LA Galaxy fan right here. Donald is also an LA Galaxy fan. Exactly. G's for life. And I admit that's a good burn when they make fun of us for always constantly changing the name of the stadium from, Home Depot Center, StubHub Center, Dignity Health Sports Park. 3 names already within a span of 4 years, was it, when it went from Home Depot, StubHub to Dignity Health Sports Park?
Yeah, for sure. StubHub was probably the shortest I could think of. And then, and it was it was random that they went from StubHub to Dignity Health, which is like a medical thing, like a medical company, but So a good name for the LAFC stadium when they do change their name, because it's going to happen, is maybe Dr. Oz, or the Beverly Hills doctor who does facial surgeries over there in Beverly Hills, because they did the facelift from Chivas 2.0 to the LAFC. So that'd be a good name. MLS is back tournament. It's very exciting. We're excited to have sports back. This is the first sports league that is going to happen. This is the first U.S. sports league that's going to start competition on U.S. soil. Yeah. Is this correct? Yes. I mean, July 8th is when this gets kicked off. July 31st, the NBA is back.
UFC is moving over to Fight Island now, and we're still waiting to hear what baseball is going to do.
Yeah, baseball's been the
And
trickiest one. Um, it's crazy. I've been reading on it, and it's crazy seeing like a lot of back and forth. It almost feels like, I don't know. I feel like you know, 50 games or whatever they're proposing is better than 0 games, but it just seems like they're just not on the same page, like players and owners and all that. So it's kind of a bummer for us, like that love baseball and that enjoy watching it.
right,
Um,
I out of all the sports that are playing without fans, I am most curious to see how basketball will look without fans. Only because when we've all gone to go see pickup games and played pickup games, and there it's always there's no fans there. It's just kind of you waiting to get your next game in, playing when they're playing full court. So this is going to kind of be what it's like, I would imagine. And those games are a lot of fun to see. Just hearing the players talk back to each other, and then the players on the bench talking to the guys playing. That should be really interesting to watch on television. I think that's going to be something that's going to translate. I think is going to translate well. What do you think, Donald?
I think, yeah, I mean, I know some of these players can be really raw, so I think that's the only thing that they're kind of concerned about is the whole FCC thing. But I'm also like reading that, like, I guess because Bundesliga is doing the piped in crowd noise, that somehow all these other sports are probably gonna exercise some sort of thing that way, which I think for us that watch it are gonna feel like, oh, okay, it's gonna sound like a normal broadcast with like music playing and crowd noise. But I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe because this is like America, in terms of like these are American sports, it's going to be in English, or most people speak English in that sport. Like, I think I kind of wouldn't mind hearing what they have to say. Like what UFC did on the first pay-per-view, where it was kind of cool hearing what the trainers say to the fighter,
Right.
and like really being able to audibly clearly hear what they're saying, versus like when it pre-COVID, when you kind of got an idea what they were saying, but you didn't really catch it too far. I think this would be great to see with NBA, and just because it's in English too. So I don't know, but I'm hearing reports that it's basically gonna be. They might test it out with crowd noises and all that. So I don't know, for as much for us, we'll probably be getting something like that. I'm not sure.
Well, I feel it'll be a mixture of it has to be the raw sound of the players talking back and forth. And yes, I know there's definitely going to be expletives, and that's why you give the notice like before. But how do you give a notice to a family sport, right? To I'm sorry, a family activity such as watching sports? There may be foul language. Like you have to give that notice and let the parents decide whether they want to let their kids play or watch these games be
Yeah.
played, right? Like let them know this is going to be a raw broadcast. There may be profanity. It's a strong possibility. And it's going to be your job at that point to parent your child. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think there's going to be a mixture. There has to be a mixture of raw sound. You got to hear the sneakers on the hardwood floor. You got to hear that. You got to hear the ball bouncing on the hardwood floor. You got to hear the passing. You got to hear the net. But then there's also going to be a mixture in the arena, I'm sure, of music. And I wouldn't be surprised if they drown out a lot of the profanity. You kill a lot of those uh, floor mics with music sound, with the arena sound. You just boost that up a little bit. I mean, I think that's going to be the best way to offset the profanity, which is what we're going to hear. But you gotta hear some live basketball. You
Yeah.
got to hear that raw sound. I can't deal with the fake crowd noise. It's just you get to put a little bit in, sprinkle it in. It's not so bad. But with music, the live sound of the game itself, there's a way to pull it off, and I'm sure it should look pretty good. I'm excited for it, and I think of all the sports, it's going to be the best without fans for this little while. I think because we're looking at no fans in a lot of these sporting events, at least toward the end of this year, if we're lucky, which we're hoping for to be. So I got to ask you this question, Donald. Opening day, SoFi Stadium, Chargers are playing opening day. Will you? And they say fans are allowed. Will you go to that game?
I don't know. I would want to go. But then I would have to know what the rules are first.
You got to wear a Chargers face mask,
Yeah,
obviously.
right. That's what I would think, that it's gonna be like I would have to know the rules. Like would like okay, I wear face mask. Can I buy food there? If I buy food, can I eat it? Where I'm sitting at. Um,
No, that's very fair. Those are fair questions.
those,
I
you know
mean,
what I mean?
have they
Because
gone
it's
into that
just
yet?
what if they don't have food allowed? What if they're not selling concessions because they're still not ready for that part yet of
Hmm.
interaction with customers and workers? Or what if it'd be funny? I don't know if you've been buying food outside of cooking, but I have, and it is a lot of ordering and then going to pick up, and it's very just in and out. So I wonder if that's gonna be the thing. Like you have to download the SoFi app or whatever, and then just like order whatever you're gonna order, and then go to the window, pick it up, and it's like contactless. But then it
Right.
just feels like I don't know. I know it's gonna feel different. It's not exactly what, and I don't know. And I would think because LA is so big. I mean, how much are these tickets gonna be if they're limited? Because
Right.
I paid
Supply and demand.
I
It's going to
paid
be very less supply of seats, and there's going to be still be a high demand to go. And those tickets are going to be expensive.
yeah.
They were expensive already with the capacity they have in that stadium, but now with the less supply for it, of course, that they're going to be more, double, maybe triple the face value price. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at StubHub Dignity Health when the Chargers were there, if you wanted to see Chargers Raiders, which was always like the rivalry game to watch, those seats in that stadium were minimum 250, and that was like the farthest back row and everything, like the worst seats in the stadium, which any place there was good, but like the cheapest seats were 250. And if you wanted like something more ideal, you're dropping like 500 per person. And I just kind of think like, is it going to be something like that or worse if it's a limited seating capacity?
I could
Um,
see that. It
the,
could be a lot worse.
it just seems like, yeah, and then it's gonna be one of those things where it's really pretty much like someone who has the means to do it, be able to enjoy it. And I wonder what this means for season ticket holders. Like, if you're a season ticket holder, do you have a guaranteed part in this capacity?
So MLS is back. Tournaments going on. The NHL tournaments coming up soon. LA Kings or Anaheim Ducks not involved because they were in the cellar of the league. They were, I believe, the Kings were the second worst team in the entire league, worst in the West, and the Ducks were not very far up ahead. They were like the third worst in the Western Conference. So they'll be playing the lottery in the lottery draft. And while the rest of the teams will be playing an NHL tournament, it's essentially a tournament because it's an expanded playoff to get it's five. What is it? Six teams trying to get into the playoffs, the normal playoff bracket, and then start the regular playoffs. So it's a weird setup just to get more teams involved. And a lot of fans are upset because the Blackhawks are now technically in the playoffs,
Yeah,
quotation marks. So that's always scary to see the Chicago Blackhawks in
yeah.
the playoffs. Trust me, as Kings fans, Donald and I know.
I actually went to United Center to watch them play against the Blackhawks, and it was crazy. It was, yeah. No, not only is the team good, the fans I could see they feel them. They definitely feel them to keep going. So yeah, it is scary to see the Blackhawks anytime in the playoffs. They're just one of those franchises you got to always be careful with.
What I meant to ask you when you were at the United Center watching the Chicago Blackhawks game, did you try their hot chocolate?
No, I did not. It did
You
not.
know, CM Punk, WWE retired wrestler, swears by their hot chocolate at the United Center during Chicago Blackhawks games. So I tried the Staples Center hot chocolate during the Kings game. Gotta say, it is really good. It
Uh,
is surprisingly really good. I'm a fan of hot chocolate always, but this one is one of the best I've ever had. I mean, Levy restaurants know exactly what they're doing when they're making their hot chocolate. So big ups, shout out to Staples Center hot chocolate. Try it. You won't be disappointed. Next LA Kings game, when they come back, try a hot chocolate, Donald.
Dang. All right, I got to do that for sure.
So we're looking forward to that. Looking forward to the MLS is back tournament. And then you know what else is back this weekend? Barca. La Liga is back
right.
too.
That's right.
Just soccer. I miss soccer is what I miss. I miss sports that are outdoors. I guess because we've been locked up, only stay home or go to the grocery store and that's it. So we're so enclosed and confined in our spaces that being outside and greenery seems so appealing to me. So soccer is appealing. Baseball is appealing. American football is appealing, but we're actually seeing soccer happen. So that's good. Baseball may not happen. Football is a fingers crossed that hopefully will happen on time. So let's get out there. Let's go see some greenery. I mean, right?
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, I could see the NFL happening regardless. Like even though they apologize, and that was really great to see. Like I was surprised when I saw that video, but yeah, they still have their sticklers for doing what they feel they want to do. And yeah, I could see that coming back. But yeah, with no fans.
Who do you think is a tougher boss to work for, Dana White or Roger Goodell?
I would definitely say Dana White, just because he does have personality. He does look like he cares, and he's a lot more emotionally passionate about UFC. Like he really takes ownership of what he's doing with the UFC versus Goodell. Does come off like he's just the face of something, and he's just there to do what he had to do. I mean, the whole NFL draft was really weird, like the way they put the fake boos when he came out because he wanted to kind of play it on, like, and it's like, dude, no, like really people hate you, dude. Like it's not something that you should be like celebrating. If anything, you should have taken advantage that there was no one booing you and kind of making out like for it. But it is what it is. So yeah, I think a tougher boss, I would say Dana White. I think that he just looks like someone that I wouldn't want to kind of like be on the wrong side of on him. So
yeah, I imagine it's like, hey, Mr. White, I think we should try it this way, and Dana White would just reply, no, we're gonna do it my way.
Yeah, exactly.
Good times, Donald. Always great to talk with you. You're a great friend and a great coworker and a great sports companion to have on the podcast here. You know your sports. You're passionate about LA sports. You're passionate about LA, and I love talking with you, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, likewise, man.
All right, thank you for downloading. Thank you for listening. Do us a favor, give us a like, give us a subscribe, rate, and review. I appreciate it. Talk to you next week.